80% of Britain is still farmland, and yet less than 2% of the population has anything to do with agriculture at all. I've been involved with farming for nearly 40 years, and I've noticed that there is a new feeling about it. People want to get back to the land. They want to grow food. They want to look after animals.
Come on, girls.
And in this series, I'm going to help 6 very different people try and make their dream of returning to the land a living reality. This is Dartmoor, 360 square miles of the wildest, most untamed landscape in the south of England. It is hill farming country, where only the toughest and most resolute of farmers can survive, let alone make a decent living. But this is a story about a couple who not only believe that they can make a good life out of this, but also a good business, despite having no experience of farming, let alone hill farming. And this is because they have one really big idea.
You call them, or Daddy call them?
Daddy.
Bah.
Until a year ago, the Bayern family, Dick, Pauline, and their 2 children, Anna Rose and Jake, lived in Dick's native Holland, where his high-powered corporate career funded their comfortable urban lifestyle.
Dick was going to work, a lot of travelling away from home, 3 weeks at a time. And it felt as if we were living parallel lives in some way.
You realize when you're gone for a couple of weeks, children grow up so quickly.
And we wanted to do something in life together.
However, 3 years ago, the family's dream of spending more quality time together became a necessity, when at the age of 40, Dick was suddenly forced to reconsider his entire lifestyle.
I got arthritis. Sometimes I could hardly walk or get up in the morning.
He works a lot more physically now. He's not sitting behind a desk or sitting in an aeroplane, and that helps him with his arthritis.
Look, there they come.
The couple decided that farming would be the ideal answer, so sold up everything in Holland and relocated to Sealstoke Farm, a 34-acre hill farm on Dartmoor.
It is a hard life. What have we given up is the easy way of living.
Yeah, it sounds really corny to say, oh, we love it, we love it. I do, I love it here.
They'd calculated on their remaining investments, buying them time to find their farming feet. But then the stock market crashed and ripped a big hole in the family's finances.
We're living off our savings at the moment. And it isn't a great deal of savings.
I can wake up in the middle of the night thinking, goodness, our security is gone. At the moment, we make no income.
Isn't that madness? We have to make this work. But what happens if it doesn't work?
In the 4 months since they moved onto the farm, they've taken on a flock of sheep, some piglets, bees, poultry, and have plenty of money-making ideas, from selling their own meat to creating and marketing their own woolen products.
Sometimes we think, oh, where do we start? Because there are so many projects and there needs to be so much done on this farm. The challenge for us is that we concentrate on the right ones. Oh, made a big mess here.
So I'm going to see if I can help them find the right focus. And with their savings rapidly dwindling, this has real urgency. They've got to make money, and they've got to make money fast. Dartmoor is bursting into spring as I make my first visit to the Bayern family. I've come up right up onto the top of Dartmoor, which stretches out for miles. It always amazes me how big Dartmoor is. Beautiful, beautiful countryside, and yet up here on the top it's pretty tough. This is hill farming. It's a special kind of farming. And it's certainly the toughest kind of farming to make a sustainable living from. And that has to be the first goal for the Bayerns, here in a tiny valley close to the River Dart, from which Dartmoor takes its name. Your land both sides of the road?
Yeah, this side and here, right down to the forest.
Sealstoke Farm is made up of 34 acres, split by the farmhouse and barns. 7 acres of pasture fall steeply away from the buildings, down to woods and a stream. Above the house, they have another 27 acres that go on up to the moor at the top. The farm has ancient roots.
The whole farm is in the Doomsday book as well. It was called Estosia.
Estosia.
Is that important to you, the fact there's been people farming and living on this land fairly unchanged for 1,000 years and more?
I think the feeling of romance and the history, and yeah, it gives a kind of rich feeling.
The land is mainly stocked with sheep, which are by far the most common choice for upland grazing.
We've got Manx from the island of Man, and Gotlands, that's from the Swedish island Gotland, and the Dutch Texel sheep.
The farmhouse and barns sit right in the middle of their land. And just behind these is an area being steadily cleared of all undergrowth and weeds by the family's pigs.
We initially thought to buy 3 for food for ourselves, and maybe 1 for breeding. And the local pub said as well, now we might be interested, we want to source local food. So we decided to buy 5 of them.
These pigs are lovely, but they are relatively low-value crossbreeds. Dick and Pauline could be rearing premium rare breed pigs for exactly the same overheads.
If we're going to breed, we need to ask ourselves questions. Why are we doing this and what are we going to breed with?
Yeah.
And do we want to go for more purebred as we have done with the sheep?
Beside the house are the barns, where I'm shown the couple's first generation of Sealstoke lambs.
It's been quite a learning period for us, so it's good we didn't go in with 40 in lamb, because that would have been too much to handle.
Everything here seems organised, purposeful and brimming with energy. But given how they're already committed to a rigorously demanding workload, I am worried how Dick's arthritis, which will only get worse with time, will affect things.
Do you have any fears or worries about it?
I think what to worry about is, and from my point of view, is to feel the responsibility for your family, and you want to take care of your family. So the biggest fear is, of course, I think for a man to become in a position that you're not able to fulfill that responsibility. But I'm convinced we can make it work. It will work.
Dick's determination to succeed is really impressive, and he's clearly a hard worker. But what if his health simply won't allow him to work?
But I'm always worrying and worrying and worrying about it. It's just a stress of having to make this viable business. That is a stress. It can have bad days. I mean, he can have a day where he's got a lot of pain. So that's where my fear is.
Do you have a plan B if things go very wrong?
If I'm honest, not. And I think there's more from my psychological point of view, because this will work. What we're doing now will work.
Right.
And we'll look in every way to make it work.
I'm all for being positive, but if they don't make this farm work for them, they could lose health, farm, and all their savings. The stakes couldn't be higher. But what a fabulous place to risk everything on. There, bounding their top fields, is Dartmoor in all its glory.
It's a wild place, isn't it? Truly wild. It's beautiful. And in spring like this, exceptionally beautiful. But in winter, and when it's dark and it's cold, there's a harsh side to it. But at the moment, it just feels like the perfect sort of fantasy dream come true, doesn't it?
And then sometimes back to reality again.
On a day like this, it's easy to laugh off potential problems, but I really do hope they're not in denial about the issue of Dick's arthritis. What comes across is very balanced, organised, positive people. But it wouldn't surprise me if beneath that surface they were a little bit more worried and a little bit more uncertain about their future. I'm on a farm in Darbo, trying to help the Bayern family. They've just moved from Holland to Devon in search of a complete change of life.
What I'd like to do is look at the ways they're going to finance this, the ways in which they're going to fund the future. Because however pretty it is, all the evidence is you cannot live off 30 acres of conventional sheep farming. It just can't be done.
And although they have a number of different types of livestock, sheep are the main enterprise. But the fleeces of their 70-strong flock are, staggeringly, worth less than £1 apiece. So they must add value to this to make any money at all. They've been researching woolen products to see which might work well for their own farm brand.
Here we have a ball of wool with your own brand label. I mean, this is a very atypical thing for a small farm to be doing. Now, that is a huge strength.
It is nice to do as well. It enables you to take you from the product of a sheep itself to the end consumer.
I couldn't agree more, but as yet, only the labels are their own work. The products are simply shop-bought samples. As well as sheep, Dick has also set up 7 beehives and hopes to sell the honey.
And from the beeswax, I make soaps.
Ah.
I've already designed the labels and just got to make some.
Last but not least, Pauline shows me the seed of an idea that I think has real potential: wool-filled duvets.
We feel that there are a lot more people looking for a natural alternative. Maybe those people that don't like to eat meat even, because to have a duck duvet, you have to kill a duck.
Right.
But with this, you just shear a sheep.
At what stage are you at with this? Have you made a full duvet? Have you worked out what it
No.
would cost? How many fleeces you'd need per duvet?
No,
or-
I've looked at washing instructions, logos for the label.
You've done the logo, but
I've
you
done
haven't
the
worked
logo,
out
but I haven't done the
anything else.
duvet.
One of the difficult things about this farm is it's such a beautiful place. You forget that whatever happens here is going to be really, really hard work. But Dick and Pauline have clearly thought through this need to diversify, and they're doing it with amazing pragmatism. They've escaped a corporate life in order to live well and live richly, but maybe they have to become a sort of corporation themselves and potentially become driven and lose the very thing that made them do it in the first place.
But that is as yet a distant dream. Right now, Dick and Pauline need to turn some of their ideas into hard cash before their savings run out and winter sets in. And, considering Dick's arthritis, they need to take into account their work-life balance. So to that end, I'm going to suggest which ideas I think are worth pursuing.
I'm going to come back and see you in about, I think it's 5 weeks' time. What are you going to get done in that 5 weeks?
I'll have more bees, and it's nice not to only have honey, but to have soaps.
I will have made soaps by then.
So we'll see soap.
You'll see soaps and maybe some other products.
I'd also like to see some rare breed pigs here on my next visit, as the meat from these will sell for considerably more profit than the mass production porkers that they already have.
There seems to be some evidence that people are more ready to buy rare breed meat.
I think it feels a good thing to do,
Yeah.
that you're protecting the rare breeds
Well,
by
that
buying
is.
the meat.
It is a good thing to do, there's no question about it.
But soap and a few rare breed pigs will not sustain them. They need something more financially substantial to underpin their income, which is where I think Pauline's wool duvets could be a winner.
It would be great to see more of a duvet, because I think it's a great idea, but it seems to me that there's a long process on that. Actually, when I next come back, towards the middle of May, end of May, you're going to have to be quite a long way down that road.
Yeah.
By pushing along these things that are going to generate real income, it would be really exciting to see those progress.
But that success lies a long way in the future, and at the moment, neither has sufficient knowledge to inform the right decisions. So I'm sending each of them off on an inspirational outing to help them turn their ideas into practical reality. Dick has made a very respectable start in his new life as a farmer, but he's a lot more to learn if he's to build a viable business out of it. So he is paying a visit to George Heathcote, a sheep farmer with a lifetime of experience to share.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
You're taking the plunge into farming, I hear?
Yeah, I do.
Brave man. Hopefully you'll make a few less mistakes than the rest of us.
George is an organic farmer, tending 360 acres at Warborn Farm in the New Forest, where he has a flock of more than 500 sheep.
This is going to be a breeding ewe. She's a little bit wilder than the others. Excuse me. I really like her markings, the great shape, and I think she'll make a really good breeding ewe. He's going to be a ram, entire.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So he's still,
He's still a ram.
yeah.
Meanwhile, Pauline has gone a few miles to the north of Devon, to a mill in Ufcombe, to find out how practical it would be to convert their own fleeces into woolen products. She's taken along a sample of their Texel wool for the mill manager, John Arbon.
Can I show you some of the fleeces?
Yeah,
that
sure. Let's have a
I
look, see what you've got.
Because it's very downy, very bouncy, we feel it will make very good duvets.
It'll also make a good quality yarn.
But to get to the point of producing a yarn, the fleece has to undergo a complex journey.
And, the start of the process, so if we walk this way...
Right, OK, I'm getting too distracted with all
After it's washed, each tangled batch of wool passes through several carding and combing machines, which tease and straighten the fibres until they're fine enough to move on to the next stage. At this point, it's known as a slip, which is ready to be turned into a yarn, or even a duvet filling.
The next step is we're going to have to shear the Texel sheet very quickly so we can start to make the prototype duvets.
So it's just as well that Dick is having his first lesson in sheep shearing.
Shearing is not something you can learn in 5 minutes. Always pulling the skin tight, you see? Badger, I know you want to kiss, but not when anyone's looking. I can even come over the top here. She's all done. That was no bother for me or for her. There's two who've been begging to be done.
I think this one is the easiest.
Yeah, I would go for this one.
Get it on his back, huh?
Yeah, get her on her back.
Oh,
that's right, face her out. If she struggles, I'll switch off.
yeah, okay, it's fine.
This is some responsibility, letting you shear my favourite sheep. Good, very good. Ah, Dick, we're going to make a shearer of you. You've only got another 10,000 to go. That's great. Look at that.
Oh, look at this.
Well, you did a good job, Dick, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like most modern farmers, George has had to diversify to survive and opened the Warborn Farm shop and runs a box scheme as an outlet for his organic meat, vegetables and eggs.
This is a nice farm shop.
George also makes sure that every byproduct is fully developed for possible value.
Huckle's lying on a dog's bed here,
Yeah,
so this
I
is
saw that.
There's one fleece in there, freshly shorn fleece, and an old sail. The children stuff them. Kate, my wife, puts the outside together, and Huckle models them.
I must say, I really like that. What you're doing here is a trial and error. And you say, I want to diversify, I want to have so many different products, and look which one work.
You have to have the time for them as well, and this time management can be a real issue. But if you want to take something new on, almost something else at the bottom has to go.
Yeah.
And then you end up with something that really works for you.
I must say, I found George a very inspiring person, and only gives you more the feeling what we are trying to achieve is right, and that we are on the right road.
Back on his own farm, Dick gets straight down to practicing his shearing skills to get the fleeces ready to take to the mill.
I started shearing this one, but I don't know, something happened with the blade, so I couldn't continue shearing. Poor sheep. You can see they stay away from me. I think, I don't want a bad haircut.
It's a beautiful early June day, and I'm back on Dartmoor to see what progress Dick and Pauline have made with their new farm brand. I've also got a surprise for them that might be a big boost in getting one of their products off the ground. What they need to do, rather more than perhaps they admitted to me, is to generate some cash. When I get to Sealstoke Farm, the couple are down in the bottom field. When I was here last, I liked their pigs, but they weren't a particularly interesting breed, and therefore, if they were selling them, they wouldn't get a premium. And although they were using them to clear the ground, I suggested maybe they started to invest in rare breeds. And I gather that they've got one or some here today. Yeah, there they are. They're over there.
Hello, Monty.
Nice to see your legs. Look at those.
They're nice and white. Hello, nice meeting you again.
What do you got?
We've got some
A very big one and lots of little ones.
There you
Aren't they nice, Monty? Hey.
They're beautiful.
Aren't they nice?
They're beautiful, beautiful. Dick and Pauline have invested in 2 lovely sows, including this one with her litter of 11 piglets. They're large blacks, which produce particularly succulent and tasty meat.
They have a sort of muscular elegance, the piglets.
They're lovely.
They're lovely. And she's a character, isn't she, straight away?
Maybe you're our first customer.
I could stick it in my pocket.
But even if it fitted, I couldn't just stick one in my pocket. All the pigs must be reassigned to Dick and Pauline's agricultural holding number, rather like transferring legal ownership of a car by updating the registration document. The couple haven't only followed my advice to invest in rare breed pigs. Pauline has also converted some of their beeswax into her first batch of soap.
Talk me through it.
Basically, soap is just a mixture of oils. I just use pure vegetable oils, olive oil, coconut oil, those kind of oils. This one has got honey in it as well, and a little bit of sweet almond oil to make it a nice soft soap.
Soap is simpler to make than you might have thought. You'll need olive oil, organic palm or coconut oil, and beeswax pellets. Heat them all together on the stove to about 54 degrees centigrade, stirring regularly. Now for the tricky bit. Soap is produced when the oils, which are acidic, are mixed with lye. Lye is sodium hydroxide or caustic soda, a powerful alkali. When powdered lye is added to water, it heats up. Add the hot lye water to the melted oils, taking great care to avoid splashes as these will burn, and stir till the mixture thickens. Then you can add any colourings, fragrance and softening oils. Pour the raw soap into a mould for setting and curing, which is a maturing process needed before the soap is ready and safe to use. Finally, turn the soap out of the mould and cut to the desired shape. Where have you got with your duvets?
There's been a lot happening with duvets. We are going to have 500 fleeces cleaned at the Buckfastly mill, and they're going to experiment with me to make a textured, felted kind of wool base to go in the duvets.
I'm really pleased that Dick and Pauline have got on with developing their duvet concepts so fast. I give Dick a hand to deliver the fleeces for processing. The local mill in Buckfastly will only process a minimum of 500 fleeces at one time, so they've had to make up this number by buying in some extra ones. But with the constant shadow of Dick's arthritis in the background, have the couple thought through all the consequences of their ambitious plan?
There seems to be a kernel at the heart of what you're doing, which is a desire to live a certain kind of life.
Yeah.
Yet, if your businesses are really successful, that could be the big casualty, couldn't it?
Yeah. I enjoy having success. Who doesn't? And that will be our challenge, to keep the path we are following now.
At Buckfastly Mill, we meet the manager, Les Tompkins. The mill will process these oily, matted raw fleeces into a clean, insulating, breathable material, ideal for filling a duvet.
We'll scour this first thing on a Monday morning, then we'll needle it and felt it into the product that these guys want.
See, it's fantastic. So what we're seeing is the whole thing from field and fleece to finished product.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But back at the farm, there is trouble. It's been a very hot day, and unsettled by her recent journey, one of Dick and Pauline's new large black sows has broken out of her pen and plonked herself in the adjacent cooling brook. Dick and Pauline feel an urgent need to get the perfectly contented sow out of this brook, but I'm not so sure that it's necessary or even possible.
All she's done is, it's a hot day, she's found a nice cool place. So I would leave her, because what harm is she doing? She'll certainly move at some point, so it's a question of making sure she can't go where she's going to either hurt herself or anything else.
But worried about the animal's well-being, they feel compelled to intervene.
Dick, what's the problem?
She can... we're going to leave her soon. We can't leave her just...
But she'll only stay there to get cool, won't she?
Yeah, probably. But we have to move her if it is now or later. So I'd rather tackle the problem now.
Okay.
They seem to be strangely rattled by this incident, and it's the first glimpse of vulnerability that I've witnessed. But one thing is certain in farming. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And Dick and Pauline will have to learn that they can't control everything.
I think she's as happy as anything.
And then I think what we have to do when it's
Lying in a beautiful Devon stream on a hot day, having eaten plenty. You don't want to move her in a hurry. I'd leave her.
It's almost the end of this visit, but before I go, I've got an amazing opportunity to offer Dick and Pauline. But I do wonder if even this determined, highly organised couple can cope with it. I'm in Devon with Dick and Pauline Beijen, who are attempting to develop the high-quality farm products they need to staunch the flow of their limited savings. And as Dick suffers from arthritis, which will increasingly make all farm work more difficult for him, there is an extra urgency to their search for a secure future. So the opportunity I'm about to offer them couldn't come at a better time, even if it pushes them beyond their comfort zone, as I suspect it will.
This is such a beautiful, seductive place. And on a June day, to see Dick and Pauline with their animals and their beautiful land, you feel that nothing needs change. But underneath that, time and money is running out. And for all these glorious summer days, there's a pretty bleak winter ahead if they don't translate this into a real business.
And I have a proposal that will use the attractions of the farm itself to help launch their business.
Now, here's what I would suggest you do to capitalise on all the energy you've been putting in and all the fantastic ideas. I made inquiries, and 2 people are really interested in your duvets
Okay, that's nice to hear.
and would like to come and see you. And they are John Lewis and Malmaison.
Okay.
And there you have a sort of chain store, large chain store, and Malmaison, the hotel chain that will put that out, the high-end hotels, if it works.
No, I'm very positive surprised, and I'm very pleased with...
I have to say, I hadn't thought about the hotel side of it, and I think that's very clever.
With their wool duvet production and their brand design at this early stage, getting feedback from 2 hard-headed commercial buyers should be an invaluable lesson, even if initially they don't make any sales.
Now, what they want to do is come here and see this place, see your product, sell them you and the identity, but they want to come soon.
And what do you call soon? Is that...
About a month.
A month.
A month, okay.
Okay, then that means we have to speed up,
We're gonna have to.
because the first from the mill could be ready in about 3 weeks. That means we've got a week to put some samples together.
And you feel comfortable about it?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable about it.
I love your quiet optimism. I love it. Good.
The moment I leave, Dick and Pauline get cracking. I'd suggested that they hold the presentation on their land, and Dick and Pauline have arranged a horse-drawn carriage to take their London guests up to the top field, where there'll be a sheep shearing demonstration, followed by a lavish lunch of local produce. However, they don't actually have a single duvet sample to show yet. So whilst the mill is processing their fleeces to make the woolen filling, Pauline sets about figuring out how to convert this into the light but warm duvet she wants by taking apart an imported wool-filled duvet.
There's a little bit of space in here. This gives it a bit of that feeling it's a duvet and not a quilt. That will be quite a challenge to achieve that. Have to give it a little bit of thought, I think.
Meanwhile, Dick is pruning back the moorland track to make the buyer's carriage ride a less prickly experience.
The gauze is quite sharp. I don't think the horses would like it too much. And of course, with our guests coming, you don't want them, the horses jumping around and the guests flying into the gauze and being upset.
With a week to go, they put up a yurt in the top field. This round, robust tent is based on the portable homes of Mongolian nomads and will provide shelter for the presentation if the Dartmoor weather turns truculent on the big day. Whilst the duvet samples are being stitched by professional seamstresses, Pauline is designing their labels and packaging herself. There's a lot to do.
We're really cutting it fine with getting the duvets together. This is not just the duvets, it's the packaging, it's the labelling, it's everything, the hand tags. And that's just the duvets. I'm also working hard to get the pitch put together with Dick, and probably look stressed. I'm a bit stressed about having it all ready for next week.
A month has shot by, and I'm on my way back to Dartmoor to give Dick and Pauline my support as they present their new duvet range to some top industry insiders for the first time. They'll certainly want to check the quality and prices, as well as getting a feel for the brand values that Dick and Pauline aspire to.
Well, today is about inviting the outside world in order that they can create a business that will keep the farm going.
I'm looking forward to the day, because knowing these two, it'll be quite a jamboree.
Dick,
Hello, Monty.
Nice
Hi.
to see you.
Good morning.
Okay, nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm fine. Are
Good.
you ready?
We're ready, just.
The buyers are due to arrive soon. But before that, I want to see their very first Devon Duvets.
Now here we have a Devon duvet.
A Devon Duvet. I'll tell you what, my immediate response is surprise, because they feel much lighter
Yes,
than I
but
imagined.
this has been processed, separating the fibres to create this loftiness, so the air is in the duvet.
You've been practicing your sales pitch, I can see. It's, they're great. They're really genuinely impressive.
So pleased.
light. No, I
I'm so
love 'em.
pleased that
I love 'em.
you think that.
Yeah. So what are you going to do in the bar? Are you going to sort of lie in bed and put it on and get a feeling?
If they
No,
would like
we
to.
thought that you might do
Well,
that.
I-
Just test case.
I've got my pyjamas in my bag. I'm there.
Okay, well there we go, we're all equipped.
But there is one overriding question that must be asked.
What money are we talking about?
Over to Dick, because he's got
I
this.
think the summer single one, retail price is just under £100, £98.
Right.
And the king size is £142.
I've done some homework, and I know that an equivalent duck-down duvet retails at little more than Dick and Pauline's trade prices, which makes them distinctly expensive. But nevertheless, they have taken huge steps in creating a high-value product from their flock of sheep. In general, sheep are a good choice for first-time farmers, and even a large garden can support a few lambs, and once they fatten up ready for your freezer, they'll mow your lawn for you too. Prices will vary, but you can expect to pay around £30 to £40 for a 2 to 3 month old weaned lamb, which will then double in value when fattened up a few months later. They only need grass to thrive, and an acre of pasture should support 6 or 7 sheep. They'll happily live outdoors all year round, although it's a good idea to have some shelter available at lambing time. Regular jobs include keeping their feet clipped and the joys of crutching their backsides, which is important as it keeps the flies away, as well as an annual shearing to remove the fleece. The big moment has almost arrived. Will these top buyers, who've come all the way from London, be impressed with Dick and Pauline's woolen duvets? The potential is huge. John Lewis sells 200,000 duvets every year, whilst Malmaison, an upmarket hotel chain, sources bedding for more than 1,200 rooms. If they are impressed by both product and price, then they have the power to provide Dick and Pauline with a dramatic start to their new venture. Anyway, the moment's arrived now, and the couple welcomes Stephanie Briggs from Malmaison Hotels, Fiona Caulfield, John Lewis's chief buyer for linens, and her PR colleague, Shan Jones. These city high flyers are immediately taken up to the top fields by the scenic route.
So there's not enough detail.
Once there, there's another piece of theatre for the buyers, a sheep shearing demonstration to depict the beginning of the Devon Duvet story.
Very good reason why we've chosen Texel, and that is exactly what you see here, is the kind of fibre this sheep has.
This is gorgeous.
Finally, with the sheep shorn and the fleece and fibres inspected, it's time to present the finished duvet samples.
Shall we show them the first one? So. And of course, what people remember of the old woolen blankets and having the idea that wool is heavy. But as you feel yourself, it is not heavy at all.
Tell me about the casing that you've used.
Well, the casing is natural cotton. It's not bleached. And it's a very close thread count.
This is one of the tags which will go in the summer or the winter. So that people can see that's actually 100% wool, textile wool.
With more than 350,000 guests using their bedding every year, the good opinion of Malmaison's bar will be enough in itself to underpin the new business.
Well, getting the right duvet is incredibly important because it's the same as getting the right bed. They come down the next morning, you want them to say, oh, that was fantastic, I had the best night's sleep.
Yeah. Are you curious how much?
I am.
Yeah? Shall I reveal? And we put recommended retail price on it as well. This is a quality product. We want to deliver that quality. That quality has to be a certain price. But I think if we compare it to other competitors from abroad, I think we are pricing very reasonable.
Have you considered other products?
Yes.
As part of the,
First the
programme?
duvets. There's a lot of possibilities.
With Dick and Pauline's presentation complete, lunch is served outside. And I take this chance to have a quiet word with each buyer.
I think the product's lovely and I would love to try it out. Should we get it down to a price that, we could actually look at it in a competitive market?
Are you implying that the prices you were given were not competitive?
No, they're too expensive.
The price, I would say, is very high. Very, very high indeed. And probably hasn't really been considered for a high street environment. I think Dick and Pauline have really approached it from what it actually costs for them to produce one unit. They haven't really taken into account the volumes that would be included in John Lewis, for example.
At a trade price, you'd need to come down at least 35-40% minimum.
I think at this stage, they probably need to get much closer to the marketplace. They need to actually engage with the high street, if that's the route that they choose to take.
The show is over and the buyers leave. We sit down for a well-earned glass of wine and a little feedback from me.
How do you think they reacted to your prices?
For me, that's a little bit of a mystery, actually. I don't know.
Well, I spoke to them about that.
I'm interested what they said about that.
Well, I can tell you what they said generally. First of all, they were very impressed by the day.
Yes.
And they think it's really high-class product. But both buyers were really clear that they thought the prices were too high.
Too high?
Yeah. Up to 50% too high.
Oh, right. That's interesting.
And that whilst they really liked it, it had to come down a lot. But, and the big but, is they really liked it.
But look, we've got confidence in our products. England has 60 million people living here. So I think there are a lot of opportunities here. And there's maybe the smaller shops, maybe online, get it known, and look how, what other markets we can approach.
It's been a really big day. And I think it's been a success, more than that, a triumph, really. This is a big product launch on their own land. And yeah, there is a problem with the prices, probably a bigger problem than they are acknowledging, but there'll be others. They'll get over that, because this is not the end of anything. This is the beginning of a long, difficult, and perhaps really successful road.
It's a couple of months since the buyer's visit. Dick and Pauline have dropped their prices by a substantial 30%, and now John Lewis and Malmaison have asked them to send samples to London. But closer to home, they've secured an appointment to pitch their duvets to a local department store in Newton Abbot. But Pauline will have to attend this on her own, as Dick is laid low with an attack of his arthritis, so acute that he's had to take to his bed.
It's unfortunate that occasionally he does get these flare-ups, these attacks, and he's in actually a lot of pain. It was grey when he woke up this morning, so we said that he wouldn't come today.
To keep their farming dream alive, they have to get an order, but Pauline must shoulder the burden alone. With winter drawing in, the rigours of farming life unrelenting, and Dick struggling with his health, will it all be worth it? It's late autumn on Dartmoor, and the weather is closing in as I make my final journey to visit the Bayern family at their farm.
Despite the beauty of the rolling mist and the wind here on Dartmoor at the end of October, you can see that winter makes the place wild, and it's coming very fast. And Dick and Pauline are going to have to deal with that. So when I go down there, I'm hoping to see the duvet business is booming and that they're prepared for a wild Dartmoor winter.
Hello, good morning.
The couple have invited me for lunch, but there's plenty of time before that for a look around.
Place looks lovely.
And I'm just about to feed the pigs. I think you haven't seen them for a long time.
I haven't seen it for ages.
You saw them when they're small.
Have they grown a little?
A lot.
A lot.
Hey! Hey!
This is a Dutch call.
Is it no, it's a pickle.
Pickle, okay, it's a pickle.
Hey!
Look at those boys and girls.
I'm delighted that my advice to invest in some rare breed pigs has been such a success.
And there's Mum. Look at you, you beautiful lady. Gosh, you are a exquisite creature.
Whilst these pigs are yet to mature, Dick and Pauline's original crossbreed weaners have now fulfilled their destiny. And there are several beautiful hams curing in the farmhouse kitchen to show for this. The large blacks will follow the same route at 6 months old, providing meat for the family and for sale.
The boars will go first to Dean Court's farm shop. We'll keep one sow back for ourselves for breeding.
Meanwhile, lunch beckons. To produce their own meat and even butcher it themselves, as Dick has done, seems to be at the core of why they started farming in the first place. And I can't wait to taste the results.
So this is meat from your land?
Yes, this is one of the men. It's a bit more gamier. It's a bit more fuller of flavor.
Very, very good. This idea of feeding yourselves, producing your own food, is that important?
I think it adds to quality of life for yourself.
It's very important for us, actually.
You know where the animals come from.
Yeah. It's more than just business. This is about living well.
It is, yeah.
That lifestyle can only be sustained with an income.
Yes.
So let's talk about duvets.
And with Dick and Pauline now accepting that their prices had to be dropped, what news of John Lewis and Malmaison Hotels?
Have you sent those new prices through to the buyers who came to see you?
Yes.
Have they given you any feedback on that?
Not yet, but I think it's too soon. I think it's too soon to get that.
So they're still waiting. But there has been some good news. Pauline's pitch to the local store paid off.
Austins are very, very keen to stock our duvets, so basically they want them on the shelves as soon as possible. It's quite exciting. There's a lot of things happening and very exciting. So we've had a first order, basically.
Initially, Austins are going to take their duvets on a supply-on-demand basis. This is an excellent start.
I remember early on we were saying, what about plan B? What if it doesn't work? And you said, there is no plan B because it's not going to fail.
And there's all feeling it will work.
Right. Dick, you put an incredibly brave face on things. You're a tough guy. But you haven't been well, have you? Your arthritic problem has flared up again.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling better now.
But come on, be really straight with me. That must be a worry. With winter coming, Dartmoor, it's a rigorous environment.
Spain would be better.
Right.
We're working hard. Pauline and I are working night and day. It could be that it just caught up with me. It is tough and it is hard work. But if you enjoy it and you stand side by side, you strengthen each other.
So my final question. If I came and sat at this table a year from today, where do you think you'll be?
Our priority is now that we've got the production line working, that we can produce duvets, and it will grow from there. And maybe at one point we'll produce maybe 25,000 duvets a year. And then I will say, okay, great. But we'll still be farming.
Yeah, we'll still be farming.
So, with their burgeoning brand, Dick and Pauline seem to be achieving something remarkable, particularly for a business still in its first year. What I really like about them is that beneath the well-rehearsed, business-like approach, this is still a living, breathing farm, managed by people who love the land just as much as they love profit, as Pauline's final surprise underlines. she's starting to rear a herd of feral Dartmoor ponies, which will preserve the breed for future generations. And why have you done this?
This is a way of contributing to the moor, to give something back to nature.
It's time to be on my way. But before I go, I must put my cards on the table and be really honest. Do I truly believe that they can realise their dream? And what final advice, if any, can I give them? It was apparent, really, from my first visit that you two were and could be good farmers. Not because you've got lots of experience, but because you're prepared to learn and you're prepared to work. And without that, you haven't got a hope in hell. And I think that the duvet business you're handling very well. I really hope it takes off. And I think the farm will be a great success. And really, there's no more to say than that. I mean, my feeling is it's just good luck. Hang on in, weather the hard times, enjoy the good times. Just one little thing, which is from some experience, is just watch your health. Don't take it lightly. You know.
It's been a whirlwind for this first period of our farming.
I'm proud of it, what we have done till now, but it doesn't end. It's just a start. If you would ask me, would you do it all over again? We would say yes. Yeah.
Maybe a bit better the second time.
Yeah, but you learn. Yeah.
In my opinion, this is a complete success story. OK, the duvet business has got a long way to go, but whoever thought it wouldn't after just 6 months? And OK, they're having to work flat out every single day of the year. But nobody in their right minds will go into farming without expecting that to be the basic level. And you know, with all this hard work and with a lot of ingenuity, they're making their dream come true. Now, what more could you want than that?